Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tuning into a topic that probably sparks curiosity in many of you,
hmm
especially if you've read stories about saints and sages. Think about Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Valmiki, Naneshwar.
Mirabai Shankara, such incredible figures.
Exactly. And they came from all sorts of backgrounds, right? Some educated, some not, householders, renunciates.
But the common thread seems to be this um, intense love for God, this realization of their own divinity, enlightenment.
That word enlightenment, it holds such allure, doesn't it?
It really does. You encounter these lives and you just wonder, what is that state? And, today there are so many ideas floating around.
Oh, definitely. Things like spontaneous energy transmission, Shaktipat, or techniques promising instant
That
bliss.
sudden awakenings, it can get a bit confusing.
So for this deep dive, we wanted to explore a slightly different angle, maybe a less common one. We're drawing on a recent conversation with Swamiji of Devi Mandir. And what immediately stood out to me, actually, is that Swamiji, well, he doesn't really use the word enlightenment much.
That's interesting. That's a really key point to start with. He tends to prefer the word illumination.
Illumination.
Yeah. And it's not just, swapping words. It points to a whole different way of looking at the spiritual path.
Yeah.
He kind of gently suggests that this idea of a permanent, unchanging enlightenment,
Yeah.
well, it might not be the norm for most.
Maybe more of an ideal.
Perhaps an inspiring one, for sure, but maybe not the constant lived reality.
That might make some people pause a bit. We tend to put these figures on such high pedestals.
Of course. But Swamiji offers this quite thought-provoking view.
Right.
He even points to stories, about highly revered figures,
Right.
like Shiva being drawn to Mohini, or
Yeah.
Vishnu and Vrinda, Brahma pursuing Saraswati. He sort of reminds us that even these, divine beings seem to engage with the world with manifested existence.
So not always detached in some abstract state.
It seems that way in those accounts. It makes you question if the constant state we imagine really reflects even their experiences, let alone ours.
It's a very humanizing way to look at it, actually.
It is, isn't it? And he brings in other examples, too, like Jesus having doubts, or even figures like Ramakrishna, Sarada Devi, the Buddha. They had these incredible illuminations, yes, but also periods of, struggle or despair.
Right. So the highs and lows are part of the path, even for them.
That seems to be the implication. And Swamiji connects this to our experience within manifested existence. Illumination, from this perspective, is more likely to be temporary and opening.
Okay, let's unpack that temporary opening idea. What makes it temporary? What influences it? He talks about the mind, right?
Exactly. It's very much linked to the state of mind.
Yep.
He uses this analogy of a veil of illusion.
Okay.
When the mind gets quiet, really still, it's like that veil lifts just for a moment, and boom, illumination can happen.
But when the mind is busy, chattering, emotional.
Then the veil sort of lowers again. It dims that experience of inner light. So it's dynamic. It changes based on our mental state, moment to moment.
That really connects with practice, doesn't it? Like meditation, trying to quiet the mind.
Precisely. And this leads to his quite direct suggestion that maybe this whole concept of permanent, continuous enlightenment
Yeah.
might be partly our own projection, something we hope for as devotees seeking liberation.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how our own desires shape our understanding.
That's a deep point. How much of what we believe about enlightenment is shaped by our own longing for it?
It's a really important question for self-reflection. Swamiji suggests, gently, that maybe whether a teacher is always in that ultimate state, or experiences it intermittently, maybe that's less crucial than the devotee's own sincerity, their own effort.
Okay, so he shifts the focus.
He really does. Away from debating the exact nature of this, perhaps abstract final state.
And towards,
Sadhana, our spiritual practice, the work we do.
right, the active engagement.
Yes. For Swamiji, sadhana isn't just, one option among many. He really emphasizes it as the fundamental, the most direct way to experience illumination.
So not passive waiting, but active practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He stresses the importance of our role, our consistent effort. And what's really encouraging, I think, is that he acknowledges how different we all are. So there isn't just one way. There are countless paths, countless practices within sadhana, something for every personality, every inclination.
And that's where things like that Paths to Self-Realization article he mentions, available through Devi Mandir, can be helpful.
Exactly. He encourages you, the listener, to explore those different roads if you're interested, though we won't detail them all now. But the core idea is the doing, the practicing.
And valuing the present moment of practice.
Yes, rather than always looking ahead to some maybe idealized endpoint called enlightenment.
So find the value in the path itself.
That's it, precisely. Swamiji really guides us to appreciate our own individual path to self-realization, right here, right now. He sees huge value in the lived experience of practice. More power in that than just thinking about some ultimate goal.
Finding joy in the process.
Finding meaning in the process, and that direct experience of illumination, the kind that comes from your sadhana. That's what he really values.
More than concepts or descriptions.
Much more. He feels that's where the real understanding lies. And actually, he says, sharing your own path, the methods you find helpful, that's what genuinely assists others. Practical sharing.
I like that. It's very grounded. Practical. Yeah. Less about abstract ideas, more about lived experience and helping each other.
Exactly. So moving from the abstract, what does Swamiji actually mean by illumination? How does he define it?
Right. He keeps it beautifully simple, actually. He says it's the dissemination of light.
Dissemination of light.
So spiritual illumination is about sharing or radiating your own inner light. It's not getting something from outside. It's expressing what's already within.
And he calls these moments of enlightenment, right? Again, hinting at that temporary nature within our usual experience.
Yes. Those times when the mind stills and we naturally become a source of good things for the world.
Like light, wisdom, love.
Peace, joy, inspiration. It's about the positive effect we have when we're truly present and connected.
That makes it feel very accessible. And he connects it to qualities we can all recognize, like patience.
Gentleness, self-control. He actually encourages you, the listener, to think back. Think about times you naturally showed those qualities.
So those were moments of illumination.
That's what he suggests. Glimpses of your own inner light shining through. Your own experiences.
That's really empowering, isn't it? It brings spiritual experience down to earth, makes it feel relevant to our everyday lives, not just for, advanced yogis.
Right. Now, people might be wondering, how does this relate to samadhi, that deep meditative state we hear about?
Good question. That's the natural follow-up.
Is samadhi required for illumination?
Well, Swamiji acknowledges that samadhi can definitely lead to illumination.
Yeah.
It can be a powerful catalyst.
Okay.
However, and this is really important, he stresses that you can also experience illumination through intense love, deep wisdom, or wholehearted devotion, without necessarily entering samadhi.
So samadhi isn't the only gateway.
Exactly. It was a broader view.
Yeah.
And he always brings it back to the core point. The real value of any spiritual experience, the illumination, samadhi, whatever it is.
It's the positive change it brings.
Yes, the lasting transformation it inspires in your life, how it affects your character, your actions, how you are in the world.
It's about the ripple effect.
Okay.
So what does it actually feel like? This illumination, can we even describe it?
The million-dollar question. What's that inner feeling?
Yeah.
Swamiji admits it's deeply personal. It varies, person to person, moment to moment.
Sure.
But he does offer a description. He says it feels very pure, divine, filled with energy and light, totally secure, yet expansive.
Wow. Secure and expansive. That's quite a combination.
It paints a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Inner peace combined with connection to something vast.
It does. And he also brings in that ancient idea, neti.
Right. Not this, not that. From the Upanishads, it's a way of gently saying that the ultimate experience goes beyond our words, beyond our concepts.
Indescribable, ultimately.
Perhaps. Which, again, leads us back to his main point.
Don't just analyze it, practice.
Engage in sadhana. That's the path toward potentially having that direct personal experience yourself. Now, related to this journey, Swamiji also offers a note of caution, perhaps.
Okay. About what?
He touches on the sad reality sometimes of spiritual people who, well, he says they fall from the path of dharma.
Getting caught up in other things.
Yeah, maybe ego, selfishness, chasing material success, even after having spiritual experiences. It's a reminder to stay grounded.
So how do we avoid that? What's the advice?
His wisdom here is really key. He emphasizes translating those spiritual moments, those illuminations, into real positive changes in your own life. And just as importantly, becoming a source of inspiration, of upliftment for others. Using your actions, your very being, for the good of society.
That really aligns with what you see from Shree Maa and Swamiji themselves, doesn't it? Their focus on service.
Absolutely. Their lives are such a clear example of that principle in action at Devi Mandir. And Swamiji adds this beautiful piece of advice.
Yeah.
Cultivate childlike humility. Always remember that any insight, any grace, any illumination It's a gift
Yeah.
received through divine grace.
Stay humble, stay grateful. Don't let the ego take credit.
Exactly. It's a powerful call to stay grounded, stay humble, and keep focused on selfless action qualities you really feel emanating from Shree Maa and Swamiji.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for anyone listening who's feeling drawn to this, who wants to explore these teachings more deeply or connect with Shree Maa and Swamiji, there are some great ways to do that.
Absolutely. It's quite amazing, actually. You can join their online satsanga live with them every single day, 7:30 a.m. and 8:00 p.m. Pacific time. We'll definitely put a link in the description so you can easily find it. Experiencing their presence, even online, is, wow, it's powerful.
It really is. And if you can't make those times or want to rewatch,
There's a link for that, too.
yeah.
For recordings and streaming options, they make it very accessible.
And their main website is just packed with resources. It's www.shreemaa.org.
Yeah, shreemaa.org, shreemaa.org. It's really a treasure trove.
It is. There are sections explaining their background look for Meet Shree Maa and Meet Swami Satyananda Saraswati. Highly recommend reading those.
Definitely gives you context for their lives and work.
Then there's guidance on practices, loads of free classes, even podcast commentaries like this one, but from them.
Plus in our store section and information on how to sponsor or donate if you feel inspired to support their work, which is, spreading so much light.
Truly. And don't miss the free download section. Amazing resources there.
Oh, yeah. Things like the Sundar Kanda, Gayatri Chalisa, Mahakali Chalisa, powerful practices, just freely available.
It's incredibly generous, a wonderful offering for anyone on this path.
So really, as we wrap up this deep dive, the main takeaway, it seems, is this shift in focus Swamiji encourages.
Mm-hmm. Moving away from maybe getting too hung up on the abstract idea of permanent enlightenment.
And really embracing the personal journey, the path of sadhana.
Exactly. Finding the value, the growth, the joy in the practice itself. And appreciating those moments of illumination, however fleeting they might seem sometimes, as truly meaningful gifts along the way.
It's about living the practice, appreciating the light when it shines through.
And letting that light change you, inspire you to act positively.
Radiating it outwards, helping others, following that example of selfless service we see in Shree Maa and Swamiji.
Beautifully put. It's about embodying that spirit.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. What does inner light mean to you in your own life? And maybe what's one small step, one little act of the dedicated practice you could explore today to cultivate a bit more of that light?
And perhaps check out www.shreemaa.org. You might find just the inspiration of the tool you need there to guide you.